Each year we talk about being storm ready early in the hurricane season, and tonight our viewer submitted question is about just that. What are the dates of hurricane season? June 1st to November 30th, and here's why. Tropical systems need warm water to develop and grow, and typically the waters of the Atlantic basin are not warm enough outside of the traditional hurricane season. Though, like with anything, there are exceptions, and you can have tropical systems form before or after the traditional hurricane season ends. A second question sent to us: how many hurricanes should we prepare for this season? Well, all signs point to a La Nina weather pattern developing, and La Nina usually brings more tropical systems than normal. La Nina causes lower wind shear over the Atlantic Ocean, and tropical systems need low wind shear to strengthen. Plus, the waters of the Atlantic are warmer than normal, and tropical systems need warm water. So let's get into the numbers. The average from 1991 to 2020 is 14 named storms, 7 hurricanes, and 3 major hurricanes. And as you can see, the forecast from Colorado State is well above that. Now, it is important to note that there is no way to know where any future storms could go. So because the number of storms is expected to be above normal, that does not mean you should panic. You should be prepared to act the same no matter if the forecast called for above normal or below normal as far as the number of storms. No matter what, you can count on the First Alert Weather Team to keep you updated throughout hurricane season. Hurricane season can cause millions of dollars in damage and an untold amount of heartache. Both are true for those in Louisiana's agriculture industry. In tonight's special report, Morgan Babineau explores the devastation of local farmers have faced and where they are in recovery.
Many Louisiana communities depend on agriculture and forestry. However, for those who work it day in and day out, these industries are far more than a business, a major job contributor, and an economic engine. It truly is a way of life.
This will be my 24th crop, and the 4th generation of habits is to farm rice.
And when hurricanes like Laura come around, not only are farmers picking up the pieces in their personal lives, but also in their livelihood.
There's no way to prepare for a hurricane.
Sam Pruitt is in the timber business, while Adam Habits is a rice farmer. Both have experienced the agricultural impacts that come from hurricanes since they were small.
The land that we own, some of it's been around from Powell Lumber Company, a predecessor company, has been over 100 years.
Pruitt says his main concern when a hurricane eyes southwest Louisiana is wind speed.
So Hurricane Laura, just most recent hurricane, with strong winds and 175-mile-an-hour winds, and we have had a 200-acre stand of trees east of Lake Charles, and it pretty much destroyed it.
Laura devastated over 750,000 acres of timber from the southwest to northeast parts of the state. That's according to a report by the LSU Ag Center, where some say from a timber standpoint, Laura seemed to be more destructive than Katrina and Rita combined.
Hurricane Rita, where we have trees that were destroyed and some of them able to be harvested, but most of the time when hurricane damages trees, they're not able to harvest them. There's so much timber on the ground.
Timber, unlike rice, is a decades-long commitment.
Trees, pine trees to make pine saw timber or pine poles take 30 to 40 years. So if you have a stand of trees that's 20 years old, you may or may not have thinned them, and it costs money to clean up the damaged trees, and then so you've lost 20 years, and then you got to grow them. So it takes a long time to recover from a hurricane.
That debris left behind also had a great impact on last year's wildfires. Adam Habits has different concerns: flooding and electricity loss.
In 17, when we had Hurricane Harvey, we had a lot of flooding, and the rice was sprouting on the heads. Laura, we were able to get most of everything out of the field, but we lost electricity at the bins.
The dryers use electricity, Habits explains, so without power, rice gets spoiled in the bins and ultimately results in a major loss.
So we had to get generators for that. And then just all the cleanup, picking all the debris up in the fields, and then as electricity again, we couldn't flood our fields back for our second crops.
He says these three-phase generators cost thousands of dollars. Typically, rice farmers plant in March or April for their first crop, harvesting in July or August. If you're early harvesting, farmers can reflood and refertilize, yielding another crop in November. According to the LSU Ag Center, Louisiana's rice crops suffered the most during the 2020 hurricane season, with 74,000 acres affected and an economic impact of almost $29 million.
You've got the crop aspect, but then you've got the headquarters, all of your buildings and the grain bins and all that. You know, you have to repair damage on or whatnot, or rebuild. I lost a 50 by 100 barn for Laura. I'm actually still in the process of rebuilding that.
Aside from damage, Habits points to another expense.
Depending on what kind of crop insurance you have, but normally crop insurance will only pay 60% of your average. So, I mean, you're going to lose 40%.
And that 40% cuts deep.
When Harvey hit, my whole farm was under one policy. So I had about half of the crop out of the field, which once you hit your limit, they don't pay anymore. So I had half my crop out of my field. I could have lost the whole rest of the crop, and the insurance wouldn't have paid a dime, you know. So it's not as cut and dry as you think, you know.
Habits and Pruitt agree. No matter how much you prepare before a major storm, it may never be enough. But the days continue, the seasons pass, and still, they wouldn't dream of doing anything else, because it truly is a way of life. Morgan Babineau, 7 News.
More stories of staying strong can be found at kplctv.com. Just click the Hurricane tab.